Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I think we can go ahead and get started. I think there's an introduction to the big event that's happening in Indonesia tonight at this same time, I think. The fantastic event. Is that right, Fiscal?
Gitu.
Yep. Yep.
So this will probably be it for tonight. So the intention for tonight is actually to give people a little bit of freedom in when you're doing your contacting, inviting, and when you're in your presentations and your discovery calls and things like that, and discover a little bit of what might be in the way of conversations that you're having with people. We've had a lot of people, just sharing about their fear of feeling like a salesperson or not wanting to come across as pushy and salesy and things like that, right? So we want to have a conversation today about how you can build your business without feeling like a salesperson or like you're pushing anything or that you're selling anything or anything along those lines. Like there's a way that you can talk to lots of people, grow your business, and at the same time come from a place of service and coming from the heart and really building relationships with people along the way. So Elle, Priyanka, are you guys there?
Yep, 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 yep.
Great. Are you able to come on camera?
I just got vaccinated yesterday. I feel really not good today, so I prefer no camera today. I'm on my bed, sorry.
Go back to yesterday and you're lying down listening. Great. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So why don't we start with a little bit of sharing? Like what let's have a couple of people share about, your experience of being on the presentation and your experience of sales. Has anybody ever felt like a salesperson or felt that fear of not wanting to even have calls with people because you have that fear? Who is brave enough to go first?
Me.
Awesome.
Me, Nathan. Shirley want to go first.
Great.
Okay. Actually, um, yeah, I'm not feeling bad if I like over people about the products. But sometimes I feel like I don't know, just I need me time and I need my personal space and not go over anyone like every day. So like I need time to make my body and myself comfortable, and after that I can over somebody. I'm not like what is that? I'm not like feel not okay, but sometimes I need some space. Just that. But
So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're saying, so the question is, as you're growing your business,
Mm-hmm.
you sometimes people get confronted by feeling like they don't know what to say, or they feel like they don't want to push their friends and their family, or they feel like a salesperson,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or you're having a lot of conversations and you're not getting the results that you want.
Yeah.
So can you share again what you were saying before? How is that connected?
Okay. Yeah, actually, I feel it now. If I can, to be honest, like I over like maybe in this week I present more 8 people until now, 8 people until now, and yeah, just produce one sales. And sometimes I feel like, am I in the right way? Like that. I'm a marketing person, right? So
Mhm.
actually, I always do like branding and something like that, and not sales. I'm like in front of my desk, and for me, be a salesperson, yes, sometimes it make me tired too. But yeah, I don't
Got it.
know. Yeah. That is my feeling. Yeah, that I face right now too, actually. And yeah, like I'm no. That's fine.
Okay, got
Yeah,
it. So you've done a bunch of presentations and you've only gotten one sale.
yeah,
And
yeah,
also
yeah,
also in your job, you're used to marketing, right?
yeah.
Which is putting yourself out there and just hoping. Marketing is all about like putting out the message and then hoping people will buy.
Yeah.
But you don't have a lot of experience in the sales side of things, how to convert people who are a prospect into making a sale.
Mhm.
So people are saying that my connection is not good. Are you guys experiencing?
Yeah.
We can
Your
hear your
previous.
audio is good, but your video, it
Yeah.
freezes periodically.
Mm-hmm. That's
How's
right.
this?
Choppy.
Choppy. Okay. Well, I don't know what to
Yeah.
do about that.
Now
But
it's
your
good.
audio is good.
Okay. So we're just gonna have to forge ahead and hopefully it will get better. I just switched my Wi-Fi connection, so hopefully that'll help. Okay, so Shirley, you've done a lot of presentations and you haven't gotten a lot of sales, and also you've been in marketing before but you've never been on the sales side of things, and because you haven't gotten results you're feeling like, is this really the right thing for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. Clear. Great. Who else would like to share?
Uh,
Me.
um, oh, okay. You go, you go.
Okay. So like when I'm on call and when I'm doing the presentation, I feel okay. But then when it's like about following up and like, because normally after they come on call and they say that, oh yeah, I don't think it's for me, and then I just stop. Okay, it's not for you. And I just stop. But then like sometimes like, because we have to like just follow up every now and then. Like I feel bad following up with people who clearly said no already.
Uh-huh.
Like some people say no, like and I still have to follow up, then I feel like bad. And also like to first get them on the call, like if they don't come on a call, I feel like bad. But once they are on and I'm just doing the presentation, that is fine, that is like completely fine.
Got it. So sometimes if you have a hard time getting them on the call, then you feel bad. But once you're on the call, you feel fine.
Yeah.
And when you're on the call, if someone says it's not for me, then you stop the conversation there, but then you also feel like you need to keep following up afterwards. And
uh,
that also doesn't feel good.
yeah, so like if someone says no, and then like for the follow-up call, like the call after the first call,
Uh-huh.
uh yeah, then I feel like bad if I like, I don't know, like if I just keep on asking them, and like maintaining contact with them is like for me disturbing their privacy or something. I don't know why I feel like that.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, I think everybody on this call probably shares the same experience, Priyanka. I'm sure if we went around and asked people, do you feel like you're disturbing people's privacy? Everybody would say yes. Because in a lot of ways you are. Right? Anytime that you're having a conversation with someone about a new opportunity or something exciting, right? Anytime that you text, even if it's not about USANA, even if you text someone in the middle of the day, they're doing something, right? You're interrupting what they're doing. Got it. Who else?
Me.
Dr. Benny.
Well, at first I feel so bad about myself. If any person said, no, I don't like this, or oh no, I don't want to join, or yeah, whatever they say, no, I feel bad. But turns out the the worst feeling is not when they say no, but when they stay silent when we are following them up. But I found out that that's a problem that maybe I don't know. It's this is my assumption that maybe every people has that problem, which is the ability to say no or say yes, or and then maybe the problem is like people want to get evade or get avoid because if they say no, maybe they will conflict the other people hearts or something like that. Because one of my prospect is my ex coworker. Uh, we were always work together when we are working at the same office. We are like a good friend, something like that. And then when I present to her, I follow up her the next day, and she goes silent until today. But last week, I met her at the office. I come by to the office, say hello to other, and I met her, and I just joke her around like, why do you don't answer my WhatsApp? Why do you avoid me? And then she honestly said that I don't want to be follow up by you, Doc Ben. You are like salesperson. I don't want to hurt your feeling that I say no, something like that. She said. So yeah, we joke around, and then I say, no, it's okay. We still friend if you say no. And I realize the worst feeling that right now I will have if people go silent when the follow up, and that's the worst fears also that I have when I present. I fear that if this person say truly or sincerely said that when I will follow can I follow up you tomorrow morning? Oh yes, okay. Uh, Sometimes there is conversation in my head said that did he or she really sincere said that, or yeah, we seen tomorrow, maybe he just go silence like any other else, I don't know. That, and that's fear keep along in my sleep sometimes. And I feel also the exhausted feeling like Shirley when do the sales activity. But I think for me, I do that. I feel that because I have to do a lot of conversation in my head when I'm presentation and do the follow up. There's a lot of
Uh-huh.
conversation in my mind. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's like debating myself, and that feels so tired.
Yes. So you get tired, but mostly because you're talking to yourself all the time.
Yes.
So do you think if a lot of these people were joining and buying products and things were going really well, do you think you would be as tired?
Um, I think no.
You'd probably be excited and fired up and like have lots of energy, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's not really about the repetition or the number of presentations. It's when people say no, or they say it's not for me or whatever, and you take it personally, and then you start talking to yourself, that's where a lot of the tiredness comes from. And then you get like Shirley, you start wondering whether, oh, is this the right thing for me? Have I made a mistake? And am I doing the wrong thing? Something like that. And I get what you're saying, Benny. When people say no, it makes you feel bad, right?
Yes, it's make me like questioning my worthy. Do I do do I really worthy to do this?
Yeah. Yeah, I got that. And what you're saying is that also sometimes it's even worse when they don't say no, but they don't say anything.
Yeah, I think that's worse.
You get ghosted.
Yes.
Yeah. And but
Especially if
what
they block you, especially if they ghost you for a call. Like if it's just on message, okay. But if you waited your whole day for that call and then they didn't come on, oh my god, like I feel so like angry sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so you set time aside, you do these things, you set up the call, and then they don't show up and they don't even let you know. That's very mentally it's challenging mentally, right?
Yep.
But one of the things that Benny said was really important to remember is that, a lot of times people fear, they're just afraid to say no. And so instead of saying no, they say nothing and hide. So in situations like that, I know that it impacts you, but it's not about you, right? They're dealing with whatever fear that they're dealing with. So one of the ways that you can really help yourself and get around that is make sure that you're creating a really safe space for people to be really open and honest with you when you're on the call with them or when you're talking to them, so that they don't feel the need to say, yeah, I'll be there, I can't wait, it's so exciting, and then the call ends and then they disappear. You never hear from them again. Now, there's no way to get rid of that completely, right? Because that's just part of being human, right? We all have inauthenticities, and most of the time we prefer looking good than being honest. But that's okay. I mean, that's one of the beauties of this industry as you're going through this process, is that you learn to be able to grow and develop yourself and deal with the disappointments and these challenges without taking it personally. Because actually, if you can do that in life, if you're able to go from failure or no or disappointment and recover very quickly without taking it personally, you become unstoppable in life in general. So this is incredible training for being effective in life as a human being. Because as a human being, you're going to have to deal with other human beings all the time. And by nature, people prefer to be dishonest than they do to be uncomfortable. They'll lie to you, they'll lie to themselves, all that stuff. So it's great if you can get to the place where you feel, a little bit of compassion for people. So, so you can make sure that you understand there's just something going on over there with them. It doesn't have anything to do with you. That way you can keep your power. So who else? And anybody else have anything that they want to share in this area in terms of what you've dealt with?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, so there's two fears that I can see that come up for people. One is they don't even initiate conversation with people because they're afraid that they're going to have to try to sell the person something. I see this happening all the time, actually. Let's say for example, you're messaging on Instagram and you're doing LinkedIn, you're doing your DMO, and then someone says yes. Oh, sure. I'd like to have a call. And then immediately you get filled with fear. It's like you don't even want to respond and actually book the call, even the person said yes. Why? Because most of the time there's a fear of, okay, now I have to try to sell this person something.
Yeah,
fear-
I think for me, sorry, go ahead.
No, the fear of being a salesperson.
And what was the second one?
The second one is that people oftentimes are going through this business, they'll do a lot of presentations and they won't get any results. And because they don't know why, they get disempowered. Or sometimes they even quit. Because they'll tell themselves a story, right? As human beings, we have to justify things in our life. So if we do a bunch of things and we don't get results, ultimately we make it mean that we're not good enough. There's something wrong with us. This is not the right fit for us, and I need to quit and go do something else.
Yep.
So what I'm saying, that those two things are actually the same. A lot of times they're the same thing. So I wanna try to pull them apart and help people get to the source of why that's happening, so that you're empowered.
like those could be collapsed. For
Well,
some people.
they seem different when I say them, and they are a little bit different, but actually it's the same source. So we want to get to the source of those things. Why you're ineffective in having the conversations that you're having, and then why you get stopped by this feeling of not wanting to do sales.
I think for me, the not good enough definitely comes up a lot. So then my like winning formula around that is like needing to know all the answers. And then for me, it definitely had to be like a mindset shift, or like giving that up, needing to have all the answers, and then just trusting myself in the process that the answers will show up, or like I will find the answers for them. Like there's nothing wrong with saying, oh, I'll get back to you on that. Like I want to check on something and get back to you, or I don't want to tell you the wrong thing and get back to you. So for me, needing to have all the answers, like letting that go, because it's impossible to know everything, and like leaning on your team or your mentor, your coach for support around that. I myself also have a marketing background versus a sales background. So that's also something I had to get over, was thinking that I would be pushy, but like we all have to realize that it's like the world is about selling stuff. Or like, have you heard that it's being a salesperson is like the number one skill, because everybody's always buying something. So you have to like, maybe it's not about like your skills as a salesperson. Maybe it's about your belief in what you have to offer to people. Like we know USANA is award-winning. It's one of the best products on the market, and people are going to buy something regardless. So it's just a matter of us showing them that like this is the best, and like these are the reasons, but not be attached to it. So that's also something I had to give up, like being attached to them saying yes. So I think all the work has to be done like on your side before like expecting an answer. So if you're going into it without the expectation, you're like, yeah, it's great if they do, end up signing up or purchasing products. But I think the goal for you is just to like get yourself out there and share. And in that process, people will say yes.
Got it. So what stops you? Because that's a lot of, I got what you're saying, right? So what stops you?
I just said that. the needing to have all the answers, or like saying the right things so that they do say yes. So giving that up and not not needing to know all the answers or say the right things, you know, and giving up being attached to them saying yes.
So what stops you is being attached to them saying yes and needing to know all of the answers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so needing to know all the answers, who's that about?
Me.
Yeah. Perfect. It's all about you. Everything that you just said is all about you.
Yep.
What's in the way is like your concern for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's beautifully said. The only thing that will ever stop us from sharing with people is our concern for ourselves, how we're going to look, how we're going to feel, what's going to happen over here, right? There's nothing service oriented about any of that stuff. That's why people fear sales. Because they're coming from that framework.
Yeah, like it has to look a certain way or have to say things a certain way.
Yeah. Even sharing yourself, right? People won't share themselves. Why? Because they're afraid of how it's going to look. What are people going to say? Fear of judgment, all that stuff.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I would like to share because my background has been in sales, and I've done very well in sales, working for somebody else. I mean, I never really made the money in sales because I wasn't in highly paid sales jobs, but I knew how to set targets and I knew how to achieve things. I was working in the jewelry industry, and we had these competitions running over Christmas with things that we could win. And I knew that the only way that I was going to win these things was to work hard. I knew I couldn't afford to buy the things that I wanted. So I just I remember sitting down with my goals. I created 3 lots of goals and I just went all out for everything. And I achieved extraordinary results as a result of that. But when it comes to selling things with USANA, I find I've had conversations with people and I've shared about the products and they've said that they want the things. I remember one with a friend who she was talking to her about the Celavive, and I gave her a demonstration. She said, "Oh, this is really lovely and it's really nice." She said, "Oh, I can afford it." And the next thing, she's turning around and telling me that she's gone and bought some skincare from somewhere else. And I'm like, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense, because she told me she liked it. She told me that it was the type of product that she wanted. And she told me she had the money for it and could easily buy it. And then she tells me she's bought something from somewhere else. Then she asked me about, later on, another occasion, she asked me about some of the nutritionals. I was talking to her about those, and I even gave her a sample. And then she says, she then told me she'd gone and bought the stuff from somebody online that she didn't even know. And I'm like, I don't get it. I've known her for ages and we've got a relatedness. And I've shared I've given her the samples and told her about these things. And I'm like, why, when she's saying that, agreeing with me about that the products are good and this is the kind of thing she's looking for, why is she buying from somebody she doesn't even know, a product she isn't even, well, she's said she's done some research online, but I'm showing her all this track record about the company and everything and that the products are good. And I'm like, okay, it can't be about the products if she's agreeing they're good. And it can't be about the company if I can show her the company's great. So it must be something to do with me. And I couldn't get to the source of it. And it's like, well, it doesn't make any sense.
And you still have not gotten to the source of it?
No.
Okay, I bet you everybody here on the call can tell you immediately what the source of it is.
Right, okay.
So I'll share. So I already messaged Nathan in the chat group about what the source of it is. And sometimes I have the same thing, right? So, okay, so like Apple shared, is it's possible she's just being nice to not say no, perhaps. Also, it could be, Vanessa, that you're being too nice and you're not asking for the sale.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that's obvious from the outside perspective, just like in Landmark, right? You can see other people's blind spots. Is you have to ask. Maybe she might have been confused of, oh, well, like you were just in, that was nice of her to introduce it. Now I want it. I need to go buy it from somewhere. Does she know that you get a commission from it or something like that? Does she know that you want her to buy from her? Does she just think you're marketing, not the salesperson?
Yeah, if you've had someone twice that has been clear that they like the product, they like, you already have a connection with them, they said they have the money, and then they went out and bought from somewhere else. That's what's missing, is the fact that they were able to go out and buy for someone else instead of you saying, we've had a great chat, here's what's available, what would you like to start with?
But she actually asked me about these products, and I said, here they are. I said, well, you can try these.
Vanessa,
right now, okay, instead of getting the communication, you're having a conversation about something else.
Okay, so I wasn't actually asking her for the sale then, specifically.
Yeah. So that's part of what I wanted to talk about today. We've, like, you guys some of you have done the Landmark stuff and personal development, right? And there are elements of having conversations with people. And when the elements are missing, you don't get the results that you want. So sometimes we do a lot of presentations and no sales. Sometimes we have a hard time getting people even on the presentation. And it's important to understand what's missing. Because if you don't get to the source of it, like exactly what you said, Vanessa, if you keep having the same repeating experience and you don't get to the source of it, ultimately you will make it about yourself. I'm not good enough, and then you'll quit and do something else. Because you haven't gotten to the source of it. So you ultimately will decide the source of it is me. There's something wrong with me. And so, right? Then I'm not good at this. Okay, the source of it is never you, like there's something wrong with you. There's just an element of the conversation that's missing. And when you get to the source of that, then you can get power, you can put it in, and then you can be effective. So there's never anything wrong with you, like as a person, that you can't overcome. There's just an element of the conversation that's missing.
Okay.
And forever, I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. For when I first started, I got my PPS, and then, with the people that were really close to me, and then I started branching out and talking to people that maybe I wasn't as connected with, and I did loads of presentations. And I like to think I'm a pretty articulate person like that. I did loads of presentations, no sales, no one signed up. And I realized that what I was doing was the whole health and freedom presentation. I was excited, I was passionate, I was fired up. I would do the whole presentation. And then at the end, I would do some version of this. Like, thank you so much for coming today. It's been an amazing experience getting to know you. I hope that you saw something for yourself today. And if you decide that this is something that you want to do, please let me know. Or if it was my associate, I remember my friend Joe, he was in America. He brought so many prospects to me. And I would put on the music, we would be doing the presentation. At the end, I would be like, go back to the person who invited you, that conversation. Go back to Mr. Joe and let him know whether this is something that you're interested in or not. And then that would be it. I would just stop the presentation, and half the time we would never hear from the people ever again. And I realized for myself at that time that what was missing was just a simple, relaxed conversation at the end about getting started or answering any questions that they might have, getting any fears out of the way, and having a conversation to take action. It was just missing.
Yeah.
Because of some insecurity that I had about not wanting to push people, not wanting to ask for the sale, not wanting to seem like that guy. And it left me like, months go by, no results.
So what did you make that mean, Nathan?
Yeah, that there's just something. Two things. One, people are idiots. They can't make up their own minds, right? What is wrong with these people? This presentation was amazing, and because people would always be like, "What an amazing presentation! This is like awesome," but like no one joined. So I'm like, "What the heck?" So one is, what is wrong with these people, and then the other thing is like, what's wrong with me? There's something wrong with me that they're not wanting to join. And what I've learned over time is there's nothing wrong with them. They're just human beings with fears and insecurities and questions, which is totally natural. And there's nothing wrong with me as a person. What's missing was just asking the right questions and helping people be honest about how they're feeling and being open about what's in the way and being able to, get that stuff out of the way so that they feel comfortable making a decision. Because it doesn't matter, people can be so excited. You can have the greatest, like Vanessa said, USANA has the best products, period. There's just no doubt about that. Our company is amazing, right? All those things can be given. But if you don't alleviate the concern that's in the other person's mind, they're not going to make a decision.
Yeah, I agree. Like if you're super, pumped up and enthusiastic and sharing about the product, especially, like newly coming into the business, it's like people can see your excitement and it's possible they get turned off by it, because they're just not sure. They're like, oh, what's this? Like people are skeptical by nature. They're like, oh, why is she coming at me with all this energy kind of thing? And that's just the way people naturally are with sales in general. And like, you're not gonna work through their concerns with your enthusiasm, right? Like you have to address what their concerns are. You have to ask the questions to get to like, why really, like what's in it for them, not about you. Like, yeah, you're sharing about the products, you get a commission, but it's really not about that. It's about providing them value.
Yeah, so I'm just going to show, and Apple, you're right? So what's in the way for people is not you, and it's not the products, and it's not the opportunity. People have fear. It's some version of, I'm not good enough. It's the same things that you deal with when you're talking to them. They're dealing with it when they're talking to you. Right? So does this work? Can I do it, and will you help me? These are like the three things that people, it's in their mind, even if they don't say it. Right? And you have to be able to alleviate those concerns. So I want to show you something that I have learned recently. Can you guys see these 4 words?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So these are the elements that have to be in the conversation. Okay, last week, I think a lot of you were probably on the call last week with the coffee shop interview. Right? And in the coffee shop interview, what they were sharing was, you have to put a priority on getting related to people and getting connected to them and coming from the heart and making them feel important and making them feel special and all that stuff, right? Building a strong relationship with someone. Does everybody remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's a really critical component, okay? And I want to share the reason why, okay? I want to come at this from a couple of different directions, okay? Well, I'm going to start with the fear of sales, okay? The fear of sales comes from this here. Do you see take action?
Yep.
If you are in a conversation with someone about taking action, but you haven't built a relationship with them and you haven't helped them see a new possibility for themselves, and what you're sharing doesn't feel like an opportunity for them, but you're asking them to do something, it feels pushy. Right? Like if your mom comes to you and says, "Clean your room." You know, it's like it feels like there's an action, there's something's being forced upon you. So this is what people resist. Both the customers, the prospects, right? The reason why they don't come on the call is because they're afraid that you're going to do this. You're afraid that you're going to ask them to do something. They're afraid that you're going to ask them to sell them something. They're some version of they're afraid that you're going to ask them to do something. And then for you, okay, a lot of times the reason why we fear having people come on calls is because we don't want to ask them to do something. Exactly what Vanessa was saying. There's a fear of asking for the sale. And when people say, "I don't want to be a salesperson," right? That's a big objection that comes up when it comes to people getting started. That's because all of their association in the past is with people trying to sell them stuff. You guys following me so far?
Yeah.
So if you're having action conversations with people without having this relatedness and this connection built, and without them seeing a new possibility for themselves, and without them seeing what you're talking about as an opportunity for them, anytime you ask them to take action, it's going to feel forced. It's going to feel like you're trying to get them to do something. Okay,
Because
that's
they're hearing what's in it for
sorry.
me, because when we're asking people to take action without relatedness, they're not hearing what's in it for them. They're hearing what's in it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, in Landmark, we call that enrollment, right? Enrollment is when you're inspired about what the other person is saying, and you see it as an opportunity for yourself. When that's missing, you're doing sales. I'm trying to sell you something that is not necessarily something that you want or need. But when you follow this, when these things are present, right? When you follow this flow, taking action is something that is just natural. It's something that people want to do. So when you get to the end of a presentation or you get to the end of an interaction, and you say to them, just out of curiosity, is this something that, do you see an opportunity for yourself, right? This is what you want to be saying after a presentation. What did you like best? Right? That now you're talking about, do they see some possibilities here? The next question should always be, just out of curiosity, John, based on what you saw today, do you see an opportunity for yourself? And if you're walking someone through this path, then you can actually say, okay, great. If that John says, yeah, I can see an opportunity for myself. Great. Would you like to get started? It just becomes a natural flow of the conversation. But if you want to ask someone to get started without knowing whether they see it as an opportunity or whether they see a possibility for themselves, of course it's going to feel like there's going to be resistance over here with you because you don't know whether they see it as an opportunity or they see a possibility for themselves. So when I was doing presentations and it comes down to the closing part, right? I was feeling fear because I was doing the presentation, but I wasn't sure whether they saw a possibility and an opportunity. And what was missing at that time was me just asking them, hey, thanks for coming today. Based on what you saw, do you see an opportunity for yourself? You guys follow me so far?
Yes.
So what can you guys hear for yourselves in terms of something that might be missing in your conversation? Because I can promise you, if you're doing a lot of presentations and you're not getting results, this part here is missing. Either the connectedness, the possibility, or the opportunity. One of these three things is missing. That's it. So if you can just discover for yourself which one of these elements is missing, it will transform your results. Mr. Daniel.
So what I can see for myself is calls where I do slow down at the beginning, find out who the person is, get related. That then gives me like them actually having a conversation about business or products. There's actually on their side, there's a listening for what it is that we have, right? And sometimes I can see the presentations I either lead or that I'm on watching is we get started too quickly into a presentation without getting clear on who the person is, what they need, what their challenges are, what their health goals are, what their life goals are. We go into a presentation and then at the end, we're like, okay, great. If it seems interesting, let's organize another call. And then it slowly dies out over the next couple of, they'll reply a few times on WhatsApp and then it peters out. So I can see that getting the related at the beginning and then at the end, actually asking powerful questions and doing less talking and asking more questions and letting them reply, hearing the reply, and then carrying on the conversation from their reply, not just asking questions because we know we have to answer questions before we can talk again. Mm-hmm. Right. So literally have the call be about that person. And it can be very easy to run into doing a presentation because that's the area where we're confident and we've learned what to say. But actually it's the asking questions at the beginning and at the end is the whole point of the call. The middle bit, it doesn't really matter too much what we say, right? You could say the founder's name is Dr. Oz and instead of Dr. Wentz, right? They probably won't even realize that stuff. What makes a difference is who you're being at the beginning of the call and that your focus is them and then asking questions at the end.
Exactly. So great. That's perfectly said, Dan. And what you're saying, Dan, is that if you're talking about, so let's say the opportunity here, okay? This is the products, this is the company, this is the founder, this is all the facts and information about USANA, okay? If you're talking to people about USANA, but you're not clear about who they are, or they're not clear about who you are, they're not listening. You can do a whole presentation for someone, and they're not listening because you're not connected to them. When you get really connected with someone or you get related with them, their wall goes down and they're now listening. They're listening to what you're saying. So that's what you were saying is perfect. And what I loved about the coffee shop interview process is it's all about them. It's helping them get comfortable. It's creating a safe space. It's building that relationship so that you can naturally talk about the opportunity powerfully. Because if you start talking, that's why when you're prospecting, okay, you never want to talk about USANA or the products or the opportunity or anything over text messages. Why? Because there's no relatedness. That's why we started doing discovery calls. Because if you're talking about the founder and the products and the opportunity and the athletes and blah, 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 That's all here in the opportunity section. Or you start talking to them about the money and all the things that are possible with it. But that connection's there. That relatedness is not there. It's not going to land over there with the other person. You're just talking at them. And the world has changed, man. People do not want to be sold to anymore. They love buying things. So don't get yourself wrong. People love buying things. People love starting something new. They love opportunity. But they're being hit from all directions with people trying to sell them stuff. So the way that you separate yourself is by building strong relationships with people. So don't be talking to people about USANA and the products and everything in text messages or over social media. It's too bad.
Nathan, and what is a discovery call?
A discovery call is where you're basically focusing on these two areas. Thanks for saying that, Dan. So in a discovery call, right, the way that you help someone relax, by the way, is just saying to them, hey, so this meeting is going to be relatively informal. Okay, the design of this meeting is for me to get to know you, for you to get to know me. You know, we're going to find out whether we have things in common. And then at the end of the call, you know, based on what we have shared, you're going to decide whether you see a possibility for yourself. That's a discovery call. Discovery call is where you're building, you're trying to create one, and you're trying to create two. You want to build a connection and have them see a new possibility for themselves. You're going to share your story. You're going to ask them to share their story, so that you have a human connection. That's why having a powerful story is so important, because it makes you human to the other person. You transform from a salesperson into Priyanka. Oh, here's Priyanka. You know, she's dealt with whatever she's dealt with. You go from a stranger into a friend, like that. Once you have connectedness and the possibility on the discovery call, now you can say to them, you know, would you be open to learning more about this opportunity? Benny, can you put yourself on mute, buddy?
Sorry, okay. I'm good.
How long should these calls be, Nathan, discovery calls?
I mean, I usually tell people 15, 20 minutes max.
And then if they're open to learning more straight away, then you can shift into the presentation, right? If they are then like...
If you have time and they have time, you can say, you know, it's been really great to get connected today. I've really enjoyed it. Shirley, I am now clear that you are in a place in your life where you're wanting more energy, you're wanting a new opportunity, you're eating clean, you're changing your lifestyle. You know, I'm clear about what's important to you right now. It's been great to get related. You know, my question is, based on what I've shared about my story and my journey, do you see a possibility for yourself? Right? And Shirley says, yeah, I think so. I mean, it seems interesting. And you can say, great, do you have another 30 minutes right now? Yeah, you can build a bridge into that conversation right away. That's one of Mr. Daniel's biggest strengths. He never lets possibility die in that moment. So he'll just keep going. He'll ask them, you know, do you have time right now? Yeah, because it's true. When someone's feeling possibility, when they're in a space of possibility, it's you want as much as possible to have the conversation for opportunity right there. Because if you cancel the call and you schedule the call for the next day, there's nothing wrong with that, but possibility is going to be gone. In the next conversation, you're going to have to build up the possibility again. And I promise you guys, if you're in a conversation with someone, they're feeling really connected to you like a person. They're feeling like they have a possibility in their heart, right? They're feeling possibility, and you show them a logical opportunity like USANA, and they feel like this opportunity is something that could fulfill on the possibility that they see, when you ask them, would you like to get started, they're going to say yeah. It would literally be insane for someone to feel connected to you, see a new possibility, and have that possibility feel like, oh my God, I feel like this is an opportunity for me. No one is going to say, no, I don't want to get started. They might say, yeah, I'm excited and I don't have the money. Or, yeah, I'm excited and I can't, how am I going to make this time work? I have 3 kids and I got a part-time job. So there might be some things to work out, but they're going to want to take action. And if people don't want to take action, I promise you, it's just because one of these 3 things is missing. So for those of you who are out there and you're doing a lot of presentations and you're not getting a lot of people to say yes, do not make it about you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just one of these 3 things is missing. That's it. So when you're on calls with people, you want to have these 3 conversations in your mind, and you want to check in with yourself. Are these 3 things present with the other person? And the best way to do that is I'd say, hey Shirley, we've been having a great conversation so far. Let me ask you a question. Do you see this as something that's possible for you?
Yeah.
You see this as something that it's a possibility for you, right?
Yes.
Great. How about an opportunity? Do you see this as an opportunity for you to get what you want in your life?
I think so. This is a new opportunity for me.
Great. Would you like to get started?
Sure.
And look,
Sure.
and there people might hesitate, right? Because in their mind, now they know it's decision time. By the way, people hate making decisions. Human beings by nature fear making decisions. So you have to really guide them through this process. There might be some hesitation. That's why Eric says, ask the 1 to 10 question on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you just want to be a customer, 10 being you're ready to get started right now. Where are you? Because it helps you know where are they on the opportunity meter. How much do they see this as an opportunity? I'm an 8. If someone tells you they're a 7, 8, or a 9, they're ready to get started. They just have some fear. They might feel like I've done, some people have had these opportunities. They've done network marketing before, but their coach wasn't very good. So what's missing for them is, are you going to help me? Is there training in place? Or they might have money concerns or whatever, right? So that's for a different training. But today I just want people to get I want you to start listening for yourself when you're in conversations with people. Make sure you're asking loads of questions. Make sure you're sharing your story. And not just to share your story and tick a box. The reason why you're sharing their story is you want something that you're sharing in your life to have something that is like matches what they're going on for them. Or it makes you feel like a human being. You guys all know, if you've spent any time with me, about the struggles that I've had with, alcohol in the past, and how I use that as something to numb my feelings and to help me deal with the stress and anxiety that I had in my life. Right? The reason why I tell that story, and the reason why there's no shame there for me anymore, is because I know every time I tell that story, it makes someone else feel like they're okay. There's nothing, oh, this person's also struggled in life. I can relate to this person. Right? Your story is designed to build connection and to make you relatable. So if you're not telling your story all the time, then you're missing a huge opportunity to connect with people and to build relationship. Okay, so we're about 7 minutes over time, but I'd love for one or two of you to share something that something new that opened up today that you can apply in your conversations. Who would like to share?
First, for me, yeah, maybe something that are missing, that I review from my previous calls. Maybe the first one is the connectivity, the relate side that, for some people, I can say that she's or his relate with me, but for some people I still don't really concern about their condition or situation like that. And maybe Nathan, I want to ask you one thing. What if we are like trying approaching someone that we are not really know, and we don't connect it at all, and she has something really bad like in her body, and like I'm not, so we cannot build any connectivity, right? Because there is one person between us, like connecting us. and and I don't really know how, and how can I convince her to like try our product. That is
Got it.
a thing that, oh yeah, then if we are like know each other, it's easier, right? But if we are not like, we don't know any people, all are like, yeah, know each other, it's hard to build connectivity. That's in my mind.
Got it. So it's a good question. So by connection, I don't mean that you leave best friends.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily what connection has to be. Okay, so don't feel like just because you're not feeling all warm and fuzzy about the other person that there's not a connection built. Okay, now the way that you can build a connection with someone, maybe there's not a strong connection because they're not like a really like fuzzy type person, right? Some people are a little bit more logical, they're a little bit more withdrawn. However, if there's something wrong with their body, this is why it's so important that you know the stories of all the other people that are in your team as well, right? Because if you know the testimonial of someone who's had the same issue as them, then you can build connection with that person because they're listening what's in it for me, right? That's how you build the connection, is that you speak into them, they're listening of what's in it for me. That's where they're listening from. So if you say, they've had let's say they've had some sort of health condition, and you know someone who's had a similar health condition, and that they've done this and it's helped them. Now now you've got their attention. The connection is there. You see? So it's important that that's why it's important you come to trainings, you learn the stories of everybody that's in your team. Because I promise you, when you're having a conversation with someone, it's like a toolbox, having a big toolbox. You can pull out this tool for this person. Oh, I know someone who's dealt with, pregnancy issues. Oh, I know someone who's had a stroke, Mia's mom. Pregnancy issues, Regina, right? Skin issues, Fiscal. It's like I have tools for every condition. So you can use other people's stories.
Okay. But oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I want to be respectful of time. We're 10 minutes over. I'll stay here if you have more questions, but we can end the session. But here's my number one thing for all of you guys that are out there. You're doing presentations and you're not getting the results that you want. Okay, you got to debrief after the call with the people who are your mentor or your coach. Okay, you got to, after the call is finished, just take 5 minutes. Okay, too often we're just closing the presentation, we move on to something else, and then wondering why it didn't work. Okay, after the presentation, take 5 minutes, meet with your coach. Okay, relatedness, possibility, opportunity, conversation for action. Which part was in and which part was missing. Because I promise you, if you do a lot of these presentations, you're going to notice you're skipping the same steps all the time. Like Vanessa, I guarantee you, if I watched 100 of her presentations, she's going to miss the call to action at the end repeatedly. And if we identify that, and then she starts putting it in, boom, you have totally different results. Just by adding one little element. So please debrief with your coach after the call. Find out what's working and what's missing. It'll transform everything for you. I'm in a year-long program right now, and it's a leadership program, and I keep taking on like higher and higher leadership positions. And what I've noticed is all of my learning takes place after I've led, and then the people that can't see what I see, they can say, you did great here, this is missing. And I'm like, oh my God, I never would have seen that. And now I can put that in, and my effectiveness goes through the roof because I'm getting feedback from people that I trust. So please do that. Okay?
Thank you
So
so much.
thanks everybody for coming today. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you got something valuable out of this conversation. And I love you guys. Let's take a picture really, really fast.
Thank you so much, Nathan.